What happened in the courts in Nigeria in the past few days, the kind of judgments and rulings, even a lawyer SAN tried to forcefully take over the legal representation of the Labour Party. Till now, no sanction has been given to the lawyer. The legal profession is guided by rules and regulations. All these leave no doubt in anyone's mind that justice may never be gotten. When people criticize what is happening, they are called unpatriotic, which is just a buzzword that they use to cover up their mess. People who commit crimes against the country are unpatriotic, but to them, patriotism means something else. What you are seeing here is what happened to a judge a couple of years ago, a judge of the Federal High Court in Abuja, who was on his way from Abuja to Akure with all the security details and escorts he had. Nigeria still happened to him. Here, a private citizen expressing his frustration on Buhari. If it wasn't the timely intervention of aides, maybe something else would have happened. Another example of Nigeria happening to a highly placed person was when Obasanjo left office in 2007. Normally, when Obasanjo comes to Lagos from Abuja during his presidency, a chopper will be waiting for him at the local airport in Ikeja to take him to Ota in Ogun State whenever he's visiting his hometown. At the time, the road to Ota from Lagos, the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, was a nightmare. It was impossible to drive through the road without spending hours. Many people complained, like they are still complaining today, but unfortunately his administration couldn't fix the road. In fact, till this day, some parts of the road are still under construction. On that fateful day, Obasanjo experienced firsthand what others were complaining about. He spent several hours on the road. Why we are highlighting all this is to make people understand that no matter how highly placed anyone in Nigeria is, you can never remove yourself from happenings in Nigeria. Whether you are a judge, the president, a governor, or whoever you are in any position of authority, the decisions you make today and how you use your authority ultimately affects the society and will definitely affect you in the near future. All people in authority are expected to be loyal only to the Nigerian Constitution. They are not expected to be loyal to themselves or their friends or even to money. They are expected to discharge their responsibilities with utmost fairness. The guilty person that a judge frees today might be the person that will knock on his door tomorrow. In fact, people in power are aware that Nigeria isn't working the way it's supposed to be. That's why many of them have their families abroad. The ones that don't have their families abroad make sure their kids go to school in foreign countries. Even ministers in the outgoing government do not believe in the prospects of the country. That's why Keyamo bought a home in the United States. It's obvious that he doesn't believe in the country despite being a minister. The ordinary citizen is expected to work hard and live in Nigeria in order to be seen as a patriot. But a minister, a president, or a judge can choose to go on medical vacation anywhere in the world, buy homes abroad, send their children to school abroad, and when people criticize them, they will say that they are talking down on the country. With what happened during the presidential and governorship elections in Nigeria, one would have thought that by now the courts would have reversed most of the fraud and even sent many actors in the heist to prison to stop the country from drifting to anarchy. But that's not the case. By the actions of the court in the past few days, their loyalty is no longer in doubt. Nigerians can feel where everything is headed. But for the sake of not being prejudiced, we still want to give them the benefit of doubt. Until they clear the remaining doubt, until the tribunal delivers judgment and ultimately the Supreme Court delivers their own judgment, by then, we can now say with utmost certainty that the judiciary are part of the problem, that they have helped politicians who didn't win elections to stay in power. By then, it will be clear to everyone that the classification made by the Amnesty International that the Nigerian judiciary is the most corrupt will be justified. Let's assume that the judiciary don't want to be seen as being biased or partisan, which might be the reason they don't want to stop the inauguration. Maybe they just want to hear the whole petition instead of one by one so that they can make an informed decision. Maybe that's what is going on, but even at that, why not stop someone from committing a crime? Why wait to take action after the fact? It doesn't make any sense. Why allow someone to take over the leadership of the country when the person didn't win the election? Also, why not stop the person on time before he takes the power? Maybe their understanding of the law is quite different. That's why they are judges anyway. But that's not the feeling in the streets in many cities across Nigeria. Another way to look at what happened in the past few days was when many lawyers were arguing even before the many applications were filed in court to stop the inauguration. Some lawyers argued that these applications and prayers were a distraction, that everyone should focus on the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, that it is there that the recovery of the mandate will be done, not anywhere else. All things being equal, swearing in of Tinubu shouldn't be an impediment to the delivery of justice and subsequent recovery of the mandate. Yes, people feel that because a sitting president has never been removed by the court, that it will never happen, that the judges can never rule in P2B's favor, even with massive evidence stacked against Tinubu, that they will still find a technical ground to favor him. First of all, it is better to keep an open mind. No one ever thought that a governor who rigged himself into power could ever be sacked by the courts. The courts have demonstrated that they can do it many times, with the first being Chris Ngige, and P2B was the beneficiary. So with an open mind without prejudice, it can still happen in the case of Tinubu. Although one can never be very sure because of what happened in Nigeria since the presidential campaigns began, to the elections and now at the courts. Anyway, we continue to believe in a Nigeria that works for everyone, where no one is above the law, where impunity isn't the order of the day. A country where what you know is the main qualification that gets you a job, not who you know. Who you know has kept us underdeveloped because unqualified people are heading organizations they know nothing about. Look at the outgoing education minister confessing that he knew nothing about education before being appointed by Buhari. A new Nigeria where chronism, tribalism, and hatred doesn't exist. A new country where people thrive on excellence and not looking to cut corners. A country where people in leadership positions will live exemplary lives, not wasting public money because they are in authority. A Nigeria where election rigging will be a thing of the past, or even if it happens, election disputes must be finalized before a winner can take office. A Nigeria where judgment in the court is not for sale to the highest bidder, where the pride of being a judge or a lawyer is fully restored, unlike what is obtainable today with many judges granting dubious reliefs to people and lawyers acting like touts in a courtroom. This is not in any way trying to give anyone hope. Anyone can believe in whatever he wants to believe. Some people cope well and avoid heartbreaks by being pessimistic so that when the news comes in the negative, they will say that's what they thought anyway. But if you are optimistic and the news comes in the negative, some people don't take it lightly. So it's just a way the mind conditions itself for survival. It still doesn't mean that positivity isn't a virtue. One more thing to like about the tribunal hearing is that they have set a timeline for the termination of the trial. If they keep to this timeline to deliver judgment on the 5th of August 2023, that means the Supreme Court must finalize the appeal 90 days after. Bear in mind that the main work is done by the tribunal, seeing evidence, calling witnesses, legal arguments, the works. The Supreme Court won't start the trial afresh. Their work is just to give their opinion on the decision reached by the tribunal judges. Either they agree or disagree. It is a litmus test for the judiciary, or like others have said, the judiciary is on trial. Nigerians have tested the electoral process. We've seen how they performed, how they failed woefully, how Nigerian taxpayers spent billions of naira to purchase equipment, beavers machines, and others for the election, and INEC ended up not using them to conduct the presidential election. They blocked uploads of the presidential election results, which gave room for rigging and manipulation of the results. INEC failed. It is now the turn of the judiciary to correct all the wrongs that INEC did. The question now is, will the judiciary join INEC in failing, or will they come out in flying colors? Thanks for watching.